Greetings, everyone. Today, we're going to have another topic. And before everything else, how is everybody? Doing good so far? I do hope that you're having a great time. Okay. By the way, before anything else, I'd like us to start this session with a prayer. So, yeah, let's bow down our heads and feel the presence of our Lord. So, dear God and Father of all, thank you for today. Thank you for ways in which you provide for us all. For your protection and love, we thank you. Help us to focus our hearts and minds now on what we are about to learn. Inspire us by your Holy Spirit as we listen and write. Guide us by your eternal light as we discover more about the world around us. We ask all this in the name of Jesus. Amen. So, I can see that everyone's here. Let me go ahead and check our roster. Yeah, so that's a good news. I can see that everyone's present for today's session. Could you still remember previous lesson was all about? Anyone? Idioms. Yes, idioms. Okay, so what are idioms again? Idioms are Okay, so idioms are phrases. These are words that are combined together to form a phrase, but however have a different meaning compared to their dictionary meaning or literal meaning. So, any example of idioms that we have talked about last time, or anything that you know? We have, like, for example, like um an idiom that means definitely dead. Something is dead or lifeless, right? Dead as a doornail. Okay, another one, Achilles heel. Good. What else? Saved by the bell. Thank you. And next, what we have here, bark up the wrong tree. All right, so I'm happy that you're still able to retain what you have learned from the previous meeting. Our topic is going to be about the speaking process. Of course, yours truly, my name is John Lester and Balgos. Now, we'll have like a short activity first, to liven things up for today's before we get to the lesson proper. So we'll have an activity which can, of course, somehow practice your speech. The way you talk, the way you pronounce words. Can anyone guess what this could be? Yes, tongue twister. So tongue twister. So we have here a tongue twister for B words. Okay, so you'll have okay, so I'll read it first and then you repeat after I'm done with the tongue twister. Okay, so the first tongue twister is a B word tongue twister. So Betty bought a bit of butter, but she found the butter bitter. So Betty bought a bit of better butter to make the bitter butter better. Okay, your turn. Good. Okay, doing good so far. Next we have the D word tongue twister. So we have here. So repeat after me, okay? Once I'm done, and then I'll have you. I'll give you your time to recite the tongue twister. So 2 dozen double damask dinner napkins. 2 dozen double damask dinner napkins. Your turn. Good. Okay, doing good so far. So, how about this? How much dew could a dewdrop drop if a dewdrop did drop dew? Great. Okay. Next one we have for the F word. Um, Four furious friends fought for the phone. Four furious friends fought for the phone. Your turn. Could do it faster. Again. Good. Okay, so another one. It's another tongue twister, but and also for the F words. Five flippant freshmen fly from France for fashions. Five flippant freshmen fly from France for fashions. Your turn. Well done. Okay, so give yourself a round of applause. Okay, so if you want to practice more about tongue twisters, so there are a lot of tongue twisters. So you can actually go to write-out-loud.com/diction-exercises.html. Okay, you'll be able to see a bunch of tongue twisters there for different words like F words, G words, and so forth. Going back to our lesson, again, of course, our topic is the speaking process. So we'll have to go through with, of course, the lesson objectives. So after this a lesson, you should be able to identify the different organs involved in the speech mechanism, produce the vowel and consonant sounds correctly, enunciate diphthongs and syllabic consonants clearly, and pronounce words, phrases, and sentences correctly. Okay, so speaking is actually not really complex, but of course, has, I mean, a mix of different processes in there. For speaking, we are creating, formulating, receiving information, and of course, processing the information we received. So before you're able to speak, you are first, of course, like thinking, right? And then you have your thoughts, and then you have to compose something that's actually making sense, and then speak yourself out. Correct. So at the same time, for the speaking, of course, speaking is also part of the communication process. There are different types of communication models. One of which is, of course, a communication model which actually has a detailed information about, what are the things that can affect the meaning of what we are saying. Or let's just say, how can, other people perceive or make meanings from the things that we said. So of course that could be like a cultural background, your surroundings, your physical surroundings. It could be your age, it could be your personality or attitude, and many more. Okay, so if two of you have different, perceptions about life, you have different cultural background. So one could, or both of you could have a bit of a barrier right there. But of course, aside from that, because for speaking, there are two things that of course are the that serve as the basics in the speaking process. So we have the voice, and then we have the speech. So we have, for voice, this is actually the raw noises that flows through your vocal tract. So it's just like, the voice. It's just the sound from your that your vocal tract creates. But of course, that flow of air which actually has a sound. Once it gets, right through your mouth, or some, through your speech organs, your speech organs can actually manipulate that sound to create a different sound. So we have the voice as well. So for voice, voice help speech production, and as well as, of course, there are other things that could indicate a speaker's emotion. So we have the quality, the pitch, force or intensity, and rate. So first one is the voice quality. So for voice quality, this one refers to the predominant tone color of your voice. It is the distinctive characteristic of the tone of the voice that makes it pleasant or unpleasant. It is brought about by the complexity of vibrations generated in the breathing, phonation, and resonance. Changes in vocal quality reflect the person's emotional condition. So that's the voice quality. Of course, for example, the voice quality of like a singer, it's very pleasant to hear. But of course, some singers could be, of course, have a tired voice, maybe, due to having several gigs at a time. One after another. So sometimes, their singing gets groggy, if you know what I mean. So this sometimes may sound, their singing sometimes may sound very unpleasant. But of course, most of the time, for singers, they actually take care of their voice because they want to sound pleasant to the ears. So there are 5 common qualities, voice qualities. So first, who can read for a first voice quality? We have the, who wants to read? Yes, normal voice. Yes. And second one, it's the breathy voice. Say it with me. Breathy voice. Breathy voice. Okay. Next one is the full voice. Say it after me. Full voice. Okay. And then the chesty voice. Chesty voice. Again, say it with me. The chesty voice. Chesty voice. And then the last one would be thin voice. Thin voice. Okay, so let's go back to the normal voice. Normal voice is used when the speaker speaks naturally, showing little or no emotion, which normally happens in the conversational level of communication. So this is normal quality of your voice. So your speaking voice is your normal voice. That's basically is the normal voice. Okay. So for example, this is my normal voice. My normal voice is this. Yes. This is my speaking voice. So there's not much change, right? It's because this is actually how I speak. Okay, normally, on a daily basis, to my peers, to my parents, my friends at home. Yes. So this is my normal voice. Now, we have the breathy voice. Breathy voice is also known as the aspirate quality of the voice. It is normally used by the speaker to create an atmosphere of secrecy and mystery. So, I believe you already have watched suspense movies or mystery documentaries, or docuseries. So usually, the narrator or the speaker is using the breathy voice. So breathy voice may sound like this. I'll try as the best way I can for the breathy voice. This is also known as the aspirate quality of the voice. It is normally used by the speaker to create an atmosphere of secrecy and mystery. Do you see the difference from my normal voice and the pretty voice? Okay, you can actually read that loud in a bready voice. Okay, read the description of the bready voice using a bready voice. Good. Okay. If you know Britney Spears, the singer celebrity, her voice in singing is usually a breathy voice. So that's the breathy voice. Okay, I'm not gonna sing, but of course, if you can just imagine, of the way she sings. So that's the breathy voice. Next one is the full voice. So full voice is also known as the orotund or the round mouth quality of the voice. It is often used by the speaker who needs to project his voice at a greater distance or when the environment is formal and dignified. It also creates a mood of reverence and solemnity. The full voice is produced by opening the mouth somewhat wider and by increasing the oral and nasal resonance for the voice to acquire a better ringing tone. So for the full voice, it's not really like shouting, but of course, the voice is modulated in such a way that you can be heard, far from the back of the audience, like for example, like in public speaking. Of course, it's loud and clear. Yes. It's as if that you're getting some kind of like an internal force within you and then letting that all out as a voice, and that's the full voice, like a the sound of a grown man or a tall lady. Okay, so next one is a chesty voice. So this is a deep, solid, and less resonant voice as if coming from a deep and hollow cave. This voice quality is normally effective in imitating the sound of a spirit or a ghost because it produces a horror effect. Okay, so this one is of course before we have the bready voice, like like in mystery or suspense, but this one is more of like something scary. You're making a scary voice. How this I don't know, I haven't seen one or even ghost, so I wouldn't know if that's how do they really speak. But of course, um let's take for example, like in the movies, you know how does a spirit or a ghost would sound like if they somehow like speak. So that's a chesty voice. It's a bit eerie voice. Okay, so we have the thin voice. Okay, so thin voice is somehow like um you're like your pitch, the pitch of your uh, voice is actually heightened. Your vocal tract actually is you know um going to restrict the airflow, and of course your voice would sound um like a dwarf, like a gnome. Okay, I haven't seen any of those, but of course, referencing for the movies, of course, that's actually what they sound like. So sometimes I actually use a thin voice if, for example, we are extremely fatigued, weakening, old age, or ill health or excitement. Like for example, if you're excited, it's as if like not screaming or screeching type of voice. That's the thin voice. Can you try to read it using a thin voice? So try to read the meaning of thin voice using a thin voice. Good. Okay. So next one is pitch. So pitch is another element of voice which shows emotion. So again, say it with me. Pitch, 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 pitch. According to Flores and Lopez, pitch is the location of the sound on the musical scale and is determined by the tension applied to the voice producing mechanism, your vocal cords. So again, like what I said a while ago, in the thin voice, your pitch actually is heightened because of course your vocal cords are having some tensions, and then the airflow is somehow like partially restricted, and of course it produces a kind of like a thin voice, a high pitch voice. So that's pitch. So what's next? Can you please read it after me? Force or intensity. Force. Say with me. Force or intensity. Intensity. Again, louder. Intensity. 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 So voice intensity, which can also be called vocal intensity, is the major vocal attribute. This refers to the effect of the voice as perceived by the listener, or its loudness or softness. Okay, so this time we're talking about the volume, the loudness or the softness of your voice. So of course, somehow if you're going to shout, so the force intensity is of course great. Or if you try to whisper, again, whisper, force, intensity, force, intensity, force, intensity. So I'm making my voice soft right now. Okay, so that's, a softened voice. So whether it's loud or soft, so that refers to the force or intensity of your voice. So the voice intensity is measured in decibels. Okay, so what we have next here is the rate of speech. Say it with me. Rate of speech. Rate of speech. Okay, so rate of speech refers to how fast or slow a person speaks. Rate is part of the paralanguage of speech along with loudness and pitch. It is not language, but it accompanies all of the spoken use of language and can convey attitude and emotion. You can vary the rate depending on the emotions you are feeling on the type of message you are communicating. So if you may have noticed, I am actually changing my rate of speech while reading the description. So could you try, rappers. Okay, so for rappers in the music industry, their rate of speech when they try to sing is fast. The rate of speech is actually how fast you speak. Okay, so for just for a humor, we usually see memes or vines about mothers talking very fast if they are trying to scold their children, hard-headed children, so that their rate of speech is very fast. So next one is the organs of speech. So these are your oral organs that are actually, of course, helping you pronounce words or create different sounds. Of course, you can create sounds, and each sounds may actually have different meaning. And once you already combine them, So we have here speech organs. Speech organs. So speech organs are body structures that work together so that people can communicate through spoken language. Also called speech articulators, these organs are necessary in the production of voice or the sound produced only by humans to tell one another how they think or feel. They may be categorized based on whether they are active or passive. So we have here a figure or a diagram. No, it's a figure of a figure showing the speech organs, the functions of the human speech organs. So we're going to see the different speech organs and of course discuss their functions. So we have here lips, 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 lips. Again, lips. Say with me, lips. Again, teeth, teeth, teeth. Tongue, tongue. Again, tongue. Uvula, uvula. Glottis, glottis. Alveolar ridge, alveolar. Again, alveolar, alveolar ridge, ridge. Hard palate, hard palate, hard palate, palate. Velum, velum. Again, velum, velum, velum. Okay, so for lips, lips form different shapes, such as an oval, movements in order to make different sounds. Okay, so where's your lips? Lips. Okay, the lips. These are the lips. We have the upper lip and then the lower lip. Okay, so your lips actually help in creating different kind of sounds. You know, those of course those are the sounds that are created by your that are coming from your vocal cords, vocal tract, and then of course once they go through your mouth and into your lips, whatever your lips is shaped, you know, once the air puff of air comes out, so of course it creates a different sound. So we have the teeth. So sounds can be formed by using the teeth to shape the lips in combination with the tongue or to block air from from escaping the mouth. So blocking air. So we are going to discuss that later on in the vowels and consonants. Next we have the tongue. Tongue moves throughout the mouth and with many of the other organs, as well as making shapes like the lips in order to formulate speech. Next one is uvula. Can someone read the description of uvula? Uvula. The Okay, the uvula is used to make guttural sounds. Guttural, guttural, guttural sounds. It helps to make nasal consonants by stopping air from moving through the nose. Okay, glottis. Again, glottis. So the glottis is used in controlling the vibration made by the vocal cords in order to make different sounds. Next one is alveolar ridge. Alveolar ridge. The alveolar ridge helps us to make different sounds known as alveolar sounds the tongue touches the ridge found on this organ. Next one is hard palate. Can someone read the meaning of the function of hard palate? Okay, hard palate, like the alveolar ridge, is the organ of speech where the tongue touches and taps the palate when articulating speech. So where's your palate? It's somewhere like under the roof of your mouth. That's the hard palate. Okay, so velum. The movable velum can retract and elevate in order to separate the mouth from the nasal cavity, helping to make speech less nasally. When the tongue hits the velum, it also makes a special sound called the velar consonant. Okay, so now, of course, we're now going to the sounds of English. So the sounds of American Standard English are classified into three. So we have the vowels, the diphthongs, and the consonants. And there is a total of 11 English vowels, 3 diphthongs, and 25 consonants. On the far right, yes, you're right. You're right, okay? On the far right, you can see what you see there is a diagram created by Wilhelm Wieter. Okay, so he's a phonologist and phonetician. He created this a diagram. This is what we call the Wieter triangle. It shows the different vowel sounds in the English language. So for example, we have here eat. So that's the long E sound. Eat. Again, eat. If you're going to pronounce the sound, the long E, so it's more like like a fake smile, and then your lips are going to the far side of your cheeks, from cheek to cheek. Okay. E, like eat. Another example is beat. Again, say it with me. Beat. Eat. Correct. Next one is the short E sound. So for example, sit. Sit. Now, of course, it's a short E because you're not elongating that E sound there. It's just short E. Like sit, bit, slit. That sounds so gory. Next one is the A sound. The A. So we have here late. Late. Mate, slate. It's more like your jaw opens. Slate. It's coming from from a fake smile to the opening of your jaw. Slate. Slate. Okay, and then we have the S sound. We have here let, bet, set. Okay, set. Now the S sound is more elongated, and of course your jaw opens wider than it was before. In the A sound. So we have a hat, can, cat, tap. It's more like you're creating an E sound and then go a combination of a E sound and then the ah. Sounds confusing, right? Okay, with more practice you should be able to do it. Can. Again, can. I bought canned goods. Canned goods. Okay, so we have hot, 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 hot. And then we have the up, and then above. It's more like there's some kind of a glottal stop right there, sound. And then another one is law, the sound, law, straw, brawl. Yes, and then the O sound. So we have the hope, nope, tote. What else? Like, the ones in your shoes, under your shoes, it's sole, the sole of your shoe. Okay. We have the short oo. The short oo sound like foot, foot, root, spoon. The long oo sound, spoon, moon. Thank you. Okay, so we have now the English diphthongs. We have the I, the oi, and then the ow. So what are diphthongs? Again, say it with me. Diphthongs. Dip, dip, thongs. Dip, thongs. So diphthongs are sounds which combine two vowel sounds which blend them into one with a syllable. So if you may have noticed, diphthongs tend to be long because of the time needed to glide forward to another position, because it's more like a combination of two vowel sounds. So vowel sounds usually have, like, you're always making like an opening of the mouth to produce that sound. So we have here, first the I. Okay, the I. See, from here to this. Okay, I. So that's why it's a bit elongated voice. A long, the diphthongs is tends to be long because of the time needed to transition from one position of your mouth into another. Okay, so we have an example of a diphthong I, like time. Again, might, height, rhyme, pie, and then fried. Good job. Okay, so next one is point. For the oi, we have point, oil. Again, oil, toy, annoy, hoist, joy. So, for example, hoist. I helped them hoist the flag. For the time, let's try to check the time every now and then. So next diphthong is ow. So what are the examples of ow? The diphthong ow. First one is now. Again, now. Again, now. Next one is stout. 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 Blouse. Blouse. Plow. And then next one is howl. Next one is town. Good. Okay, so we have the English consonants. Consonants. Again, consonants. So according to voicing, consonants may be voiced or voiceless. So for the voiced ones, the voice is produced with the vibration of the vocal cords. Okay, So if you're making a sound of a consonant, if you're making a consonant sound, if you're your vocal cords are vibrating. So that means that's a voiced consonant. And then of course we have the voiceless, and it's kind of the opposite because of course your vocal cords don't vibrate when you create that sound. So according to the manner of articulation, so we have the consonants. The consonants can be called stops. We have the fricatives, affricates, nasals, lateral, and semivowels. And by the way, for stops can also be categorized to voiced or voiceless stops. Stops is also known as plosives. So we have voiced plosives or voiceless plosives. So what are stops? Stops is when produced with complete obstruction of the air passage. So what are those sounds? We have of course the sound b, 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 d. Again, d. Say with me, d. Then g, p, p, t, t, k. See, there's a puff of hair. A puff of air when you try to make that sound, because of course you're trying to first obstruct the air passage and then let it out with a puff of air. No. B, b. Okay, so the air is obstructed, and then the sound is going to be pronounced once you let the air out. B, d. So we have the fricatives. Fricatives is when produced with partial obstruction, partial only. So we have the you see there's some kind of a tension here because of course the air is being obstructed partially, but you're still creating a sound. You're trying to close your mouth, but of course there's some kind of like a sound or air that's escaping your mouth. Yes, that's partial obstruction. So those are fricative sounds, fricative consonants. Okay, so we have affricates. So this is when a stop and fricative combine. Okay, you're combining the fricative and then the stops. What are those? We have the ch, ch, and then j, j, edge, jar. Again, jar, church, chair, beach, ch. Again, ch. Okay, so we have the nasals. Nasals is when vibrated through the nose. It goes like this. You see, there's some kind of a vibration somewhere here in your nasal cavity. So that's Okay. Sing, sing again. Sing. For the N, for the N sound, we have corn, corn. Again, corn. Okay, and then for the we have mom, mom, mommy. Okay, good. Lateral sound. So the lateral consonants is when air passes along the sides of the tongue in its production. So it is when you're some kind of, it goes like this. Your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth, your palate. But of course, the tip of your tongue is touching the roof of your mouth. and then the air is escaping through the sides of your, passing through your to the side of your tongue. Say for example, l, lamp, lamp. You're creating. Okay, try to say with me, l, l. So there's some kind of an air passing through the sides of your tongue, right? L, lamp. What else? Light. I see the light. Again, light. Okay, semi-vowels. So when there is lack of friction in our vowel-like in voicing, so we have two of those. We have the w and the y. Word, water, w, w. So these are semi-vowels because of course it tends to somehow like, you know, make you open your mouth like this, like same as the vowel sounds, like the a, the e, o, a, like cat, nap. So w, water, w. Yeast, yolk, yolk. Thank you. Okay, so let's try to test yourself out. So grab like a pen and paper, say the following words out loud, and then highlight, the word that does not belong based on its initial sound. Okay, so I'll give you a minute. And let me know when you're done. Okay, seems like I'm seeing people's already done. Ten seconds left. Time's up. Okay, so let's try to check your answers. So we have here the word on the first row. We have the words Chris. Again, Chris. So Chris is going to school this semester. Chris. Then second one is cat. Again, cat. Say with me, cat. And then church. Church. Okay, second row, we have the gum. Gum. Again, gum. Then the next one is gym. 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 And then the next one is jam. It's jam. Next row, third row, we have then. Again, then. The next word is thought. Thought. Next word is that. Say with me again, that. Last row, save. Save. Second, and the next word is sure. Sure. And then city. City. Okay. So, and of course, you should have not forget to highlight the word that does not belong, okay, in that in each row of words. So let's try to check your answers. Did you got them all right? Okay, so the one that's not belong is church, the gum, thought, and sure. What have we discussed? Anyone? We have discussed the speaking process, of course. So what are involved? Any question? Anyone? Okay, so great. Okay, so but of course this is to apply what you have learned, you know, for today's lesson, from today's lesson. Okay, now using the Veeder triangle, identify what kind of vowels are used in the underlined words. Upload your answers in our G Drive folder, and then the link is as shown here. Okay, and there will be like 2 points per item. Okay. You can start answering and then upload it in our G Drive folder. I'll give you like 2 minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes. That should be enough. Thirty seconds left. All right, I'm seeing people who are already done. And time's up. Okay, so I'll take a picture. Okay, take a picture of your answers and upload it in our Google Drive folder. And then for your assignment, before we end this lesson, so record yourself while reciting the poem Trees by Joyce Kilmer. So the trees, the poem is already on the far right side, your right side. So that's the poem written by Joyce Kilmer. So here's the rubrics for scoring: enunciation 40%, pronunciation 50%, spontaneity 20%. That's the total of 100%. Again, upload it on Google Drive folder. The name of the folder is the speaking process - assignment. So the Google link is there. The link for the folder is there. Due is gonna be on December 20th. Okay, any question so far? And thank you so much for coming today, and I hope to see you on our next lesson.